In today's video I wanted to go over my Valby Spiral Tidal Wave build. The purpose of this build is to help you clear runs easier against Gluttony. In many public games, teams often wipe because players are unfamiliar with Gluttony's mechanics. A key aspect of this fight is to manage Gluttony's immunity bar and the charge on his weapon. If his weapon reaches full charge, your team will wipe unless you feed him bubbles. If Gluttony does become immune, purple bubbles will start to appear out of the bubble dispensers, the little fountains. These purple bubbles drag normal bubbles towards Gluttony, and you have to stop Gluttony from consuming these bubbles. If he does consume them, his weapon will charge up faster. You must destroy the purple bubbles when they are near Gluttony. You'll also notice that the purple bubble chains together normal bubbles. The more normal bubbles you have chained together, the better, because the chains can trigger a chain reaction that helps Gluttony come out of his immunity phase faster, but you shouldn't wait for them to chain together. If the bubble is too close to Gluttony, you should just destroy the purple bubble straight away, so that you avoid filling up his bar. After each immunity phase, the bubble dispensers will move further away, which means after each immunity it will become more difficult to maneuver the bubbles towards Gluttony. But thanks to the cost reduction, cooldown and MP recovery on the build, you're able to spam your first ability, which allows you to move the bubbles across the entire map anyway. Over the past couple of hours I've been writing another document, and to be honest I shouldn't be writing these documents to be so long. This one is 7 pages long, and I should probably end up cutting it down so it's a lot smaller. Now the module breakdown for Valby is that we have Spiral Tidal Wave. The description is bubbles no longer bounce off the ground, but are now projectiles fired forward, and it attracts Gluttony's impurities. Gluttony's impurities are the bubbles, so it drags along the bubbles whenever you use the projectile. When you use this red mod, it changes your first ability, so now it does slightly more damage, and it's a projectile that flies through the air, but you're limited to 3 stacks. This module here is the capacity module. You can put any module you want in here. I personally just use the grappling hook, and you can pick any grappling hook you want. This just gives you an increased amount of module capacity. MP conversion, this gives you skill cooldown 36.5 and max MP minus 15. This basically lowers the cooldown of your first skill, helping you regain stacks faster and reduce the MP. However, you lose MP. Nimble Fingers further decreases the skill's cooldown, which makes the stack cooldown faster, so you can gain your stacks of Spiral Tidal Wave multi-talented. Since Spiral Tidal Wave is a dimension skill, whenever we use a dimension skill, we get skill cooldown at minus 20.5 for 5 seconds. This lets us lower the stack cooldown even further. Maximize Conservation gives us skill cost reduction of 35.4 and skill power modifier minus 20. We don't really care about skill power modifier because we're not dealing damage with this build, but it only lowers it by a slight percentage. This lets us reduce the MP cost of the skill, meaning that it costs less MP to cast every single time. We then have Strong Mentality, which gives us skill cost 15.2. This reduces the first ability's MP cost even further. Then for survivability mods, we use Anti-Freeze Solution. This gives us Frostbite Immunity and Chill Resistance plus 29%. This basically prevents us from getting frozen whenever we get attacked from Gluttony or the bubbles, which means you won't be frozen in place and you won't be taking damage while you're stuck in place. And this chill resistance plus 29% is a multiplier which increases your chill resistance. That's why we have cold antibody for the chill resistance. This gives us 4,614, and this gets multiplied by the 29%. This basically lets you survive more ice-based attacks, and it has a great synergy with antifreeze. The increased defense, this allows you to take more damage from Gluttony's attacks as well. Stem Accelerant for the max MP at plus 234. However, we lose out on the max MP, which doesn't really matter since this build also uses MP recovery. Then increased HP, max HP plus 218.5. This increases the health even further, and this is combined with Stem Accelerant, which allows you to take even more damage. So with these modules, you're able to spam your first ability, and you gain your stacks back nearly instantly, and you do not run out of MP. Now obviously when you're in combat you won't get your MP recovery. Out of combat, you still gain a little bit of MP recovery, and you're not really going to be spamming this constantly in the actual fight anyway, so this is plenty. If you do end up running out of MP, you can run away from the boss and be out of combat. Then when you're out of combat, you'll be able to recover your MP. This also maximizes your survivability, and you're also immune to being frozen. With almost any build, if you're wanting survivability, you need to find a balance between your defense and your health, and we're also able to give ourselves some chill resistance. Now before this I was testing module combinations for Gluttony to see how much damage I'll take depending on what modules I have on, and these are the ones that I found to be the best. So the stuff that I was switching between was cold antibody, increased defense, shield conversion, and maximized chill resistance. because this gives 180% chill resistance. I was basically seeing what combinations would let me live longer. So for the first combination, I had done increased defense and shield conversion, and I switched out antibody for the shield conversion. And when I was shot by Gluttony, I was left with 4,215 health. And I'll have all the demonstrations shown. So for increased defense and shield conversion, I had 4,215. Then with increased defense and cold antibody, which is what I have on right now, this was the most successful one, leaving me with 7,625 health when I was shot by Gluttony. Then I switched increased defense for shield conversion and then left on cold antibody. This left me with 6,507. That's because we're taking a minus 36.5% max shield, which does make us lose our shield faster. Then cold antibody and maximize chill resistance left us with 6,000. So the best one to use is increased defense and cold antibody. And I wrote here that it's important to maintain a balance between your maximum health, defense, and resistances. Now for the module calculations as well, we have Valby's base stats at level 40. So for max MP 243, max HP 1402, max shield 671, defense 2120, chill resistance 13, skill cooldown 0, and skill cost 0. Those were the two modifiers. Now, the Spiral Tidal Wave base stats is 14 seconds cooldown for stacks, and MP cost is 32. We can see that when we hover over, stack cooldown 14 and MP cost 32. Now for the cooldown modules, MP conversion gives minus 36.5% skill cooldown reduction, so we do 14 times 0.365, which means this mod gives 5.1 seconds cooldown reduction for Spiral Tidal Wave. So the new stack is at 14 seconds minus 5.1, that gives us 8.9. We obviously get the max MP reduction of 15%, so we take the max MP and we times it by 0.15, that gives us 36.45. That's how much MP we lost, which leaves us with 206.55. Nimble Fingers gives a skill cost reduction of 0.256. Calculation 14 seconds times 0.256, that gives us 3.584 seconds. So Spiral Tidal Wave cooldown is 14 seconds, take away 3.6 seconds, that leaves us with 10.4 seconds. Multi-talented, whenever you proc this, it gives you 0.205, so we do 14 seconds times 0.205, that gives us 2.87 seconds. So 14 seconds take away 2.9 seconds, that leaves us with 11.1 seconds. That's because all these decimal numbers round towards their closest number. So obviously 7 will round towards 9. And then we do MP conversion plus Nimble Fingers plus multi-talented. That gives us a total of 0.826. So we do 14 seconds times 0.826. That gives us 11 seconds, 0.564. So 14 seconds take away 11.6. That leaves us with 2.4 seconds on our cooldown. Then we use our first skill. That gives us multi-talented stack. When we hover over the skill, we get 2.4. Now obviously with a reactor with skill cooldown, when we use it and get the stack, it lowers it even further, so 1.5 seconds. Skill cost modules. Strong Mentality gives 15.2%, which leaves us with a decimal number of 0.152. So we take 32 times 0.152, that leaves us with 4.864. So the new skill cost for Spiral Tidal Wave is 32 minus 4.9, that leaves us with 27.1. Then maximize conversion, this gives us 35.4%. So the decimal number is 0.354. We do 32 times 0.354, that leaves us with 11.328. So then the skill cost is 32 minus 11.3, that leaves us with 20.7. Then Strong Mentality and Maximize Conservation will give us a total of 0.506. 32 times 0.506 leaves us with 16.192. 32 minus 16.2, that leaves us with 15.8 for the skill cost. As you can see, if I remove the reactor, we have 15.8. Then with the reactor, it goes down even further to 14.7. Chill resistance modules. Antifreeze solution. This gives us plus 29%. So if we have a base chill resistance of 13 times 0.29, that gives us 3.77. So we do 13 plus 3.77, that gives us 16.77. So if we go into the modules and take off chill resistance, you'll see we have 16.77. Now antibody, this gives us a chill resistance increase of 4,614. So to calculate the new chill resistance, we do 13 plus 4,614, and that gives us a total of 4,627. So if we take off antifreeze and we put on the cold antibody, you'll see we have 4627. So if we do antifreeze solution with code antibody, obviously our max chill resistance is 4627. This is added first, and we get the 29% modifier from antifreeze solution. So we do 4627 times 0.29, that gives us 1341.83. So then we add both of these numbers together. So we add the cold antibody 4627 with the modifier number, which is 1341.83. That gives us 5968.83. 5968.83. For the defense, our base defense is 2120. We gain the 160.4 from increased defense. So we do 1.604. That gives us 3448, which means our new defense is 5520.48. And this is without components. So 5520.48. Increased HP. This gives us 218.5%, so 1402, which is the base, times 2.185, that gives us 3063.37. So we add the base plus 3063.37, that gives us 4465.37. Then we also have stim accelerant, this gives us plus 234, so we do base times 2.340, that gives us 3280.68. So we add these both together, that gives us 4682.68. We obviously get the MP reduction, it's the same as the other one as well. And then for increased HP plus stim accelerant, we combine both these percentages, which gives us 452.5. So we do 1402 times 4.525, that leaves us with 6344.05. So we add them both together, and we should have the max HP of 7746.05. And that is without components applied. 7746.05. Now, inversion reinforcement buffs. If you select your inversion reinforcement, there are two things on here that are really useful for this build as well. The first one is high density chill particle membrane. So whenever you deal damage with a firearm, you gain plus 9.8 chill resistance for 0.5 seconds up to 2 stacks, and you can keep gaining these stacks as long as you're dealing damage with your firearm. This then reduces Gluttony's damage even further because you're gaining chill resistance. And then composite element particle membrane. This gives us plus 10.7% to all attribute resistances. So as every resistance, including chill resistance. You gain this when you purchase all of the ones on the attribute row, and you can proc this whenever you proc high density chill particle membrane. So this is just an additional bonus whenever you deal damage with your firearm. So this can stack up to 2 stacks, which gives us plus 19.6% on top of the 10.7 as well, which gives us a total of 30.3%. And this is a modifier, which basically modifies the chill resistance that we have, increasing it even further. So for example, I have 5968.83. I'm then using my weapon, and you see that we get the 2 stacks on the left. Another thing you can keep in mind is you can use the Greg's Reversed Fate to proc this as well. So whenever you get the bombardments will also proc it. So for this demonstration, to actually show the resistance increase, I'll get my bombardments, and you'll see that I'm up to 7,370. So if we take that number and we minus the chill resistance that we have, we gain a total of 1,401.98 whenever we have those 2 inversion reinforcement buffs. That's every time we're dealing damage with a weapon. For your components, I would say that you should focus on max HP and defense as the main stat, just for better survivability. Additionally, you can also have chill resistance on your sensor. This would require you to switch either MP recovery in combat or max MP. But for my components that I'm actually running, so you gain the defense, the MP recovery out of combat, and the max HP. This max shield isn't really useful. You'd probably want something better. But for the stats, you have MP recovery in combat and max MP. These MP recoveries allow me to generate my MP in and out of combat, which means I'm always gaining MP, which allows me to use the first skill more often. And then on the memory, I have max HP, defense, and MP recovery modifier. And then the processor is max HP, shield recovery modifier, and max shield. A component that I think would be pretty useful would be the Tomb Guard. This set gives it plus 25% defense, and you can probably switch 2 of your components for this, and you can increase your defense even further. I personally just don't have Tomb Vanguard, so I can't test this. But from just reading the set effect, this seems to be pretty decent, and I would probably go with this if I had it. And then for the Reactor, this build primarily focuses on preventing Gluttony from wiping the team, rather than dealing damage, so the extra skill power from weapon mounting doesn't really matter. The skill power boost ratio ratio doesn't matter either. The entire reactor doesn't matter. The only stats that matter are at the bottom, which are the substats, and that is skill cost and skill cooldown. These substats will allow you to use your first skill more frequently as well, and reduce the cost of casting that skill. You also don't even need the substats. These just provide additional benefits to the build if you're wanting to min-max it. But that's the entire build. Now I'm just going to do a quick game of Gluttony to demonstrate the actual build. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, it will help the channel a lot. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.